Colo. I'm just gonna keep going. Colo, 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 Torre.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Jacob and me. Oh no, not Jacob and me. Across the pond.
Psych.
Left turn. U-turn. Like I said, this is Across the Pond, where two American boys talk about the worldwide world of soccer/football. I am the host, Richard Rodillo, joined by the man with the noggin, Jacob Bullard. If you're new to the Across the Pond podcast, like I said, it's where two American boys talk about the worldwide world of soccer/football. Mostly we talk about just primarily the Premier League, and then we get into other games, big games in Europe. Is there any this week at all for us?
Your guess is as good as mine. I haven't actually looked yet.
Okay. Well, we'll find out later on in the podcast if we're going to talk about them. But Jacob's going to check those right now. So the first part of the podcast, as always, is where we do the week in review of this past in the Premier League. Did we even have any big games from Europe from last week at all to review?
We did not do any. We looked at. I know. We didn't do like a full preview for them, but I know. Dortmund beat. Schalke in like their, I forget the name of that derby, but there was that game, and there was Juve Inter, right? And Juve won that 1-0.
Okay, well, yeah, I think I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, it was a Friday game, the Juve won, yeah. So those were the two that we had from last week.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go.
Boom. That was our review for those games.
Juve still beating people that need to be beating them,
Yeah.
and Dortmund continue to play well.
Yeah, until
review.
Yeah. There you
10
go.
second your continental Europe review right there.
Well, we are going to go back to the British Isles and talk about the Premier League. The first game of the week is Bournemouth versus Liverpool. Liverpool won 4-0 in the beatdown of the week with a hat trick in the 25th, 48th, and 77th minute by Mohamed Salah. And then an unfortunate own goal by Steve Cook in the 68th minute from Bournemouth to help out Liverpool. Bournemouth possessed the ball 40% of the time to Liverpool's 60. 8 shots with 2 on target for Bournemouth. 10 shots with 4 on goal for Liverpool. Just men versus boys.
Definitely.
What we've finally seen Mohamed Salah, I don't think this is his final form, but definitely a step in the right direction to his old self of last year. I was very happy because Robertson also got an assist in this game off of the one of those goals.
#fantasy.
So yes, but yeah, like I said, it's older Liverpool is what we've seen before, and then it's just them putting those chances away. If we've seen them this year have these opportunities and kind of just fail to convert. But that this past weekend against Bournemouth, they were able to do that.
Yeah, it was like you were saying, much more of a return to form for Mohamed Salah. I can't speak. We've been criticizing him a little bit for the majority of this season in that opportunities where last year he would normally have scored, he's been somewhat wasteful. And Liverpool haven't. It's been a little while since Liverpool have put together a performance like they did against Bournemouth in this game, where they were just completely dominant, smooth in transition into their counterattack. And I mean, obviously we expected Liverpool to win this game, but they did so in a way that they haven't been the last couple months. And so it's good for them, especially I know like right now in the Champions League, they're kind of playing for their Champions League lives at the moment against Napoli. So we'll see. It's going to have a big impact on like the rest of their season. Like if they fall down to the Europa League, I think the league will be a lot easier for them. They can focus on that. But if they're going to start playing like this, then that's going to this type of play in combination with potentially being in the Europa League is bad for the rest of the league because they're going to just be able to play really well and focus on the Premier League by itself.
And they'll be able to play the younger players or players that haven't been getting
right. They'll rotate in the Europa League.
Like Origi would finally get probably a couple starts in there. You'll see some of the guys from the youth. Unfortunately, like there'll be some guys that are like loaned out. I think I believe his name is something Wilson, who's loaned out at Derby right now. Okay. Who's actually one of their prospects. He's like a left winger, but he'll probably never see the light of day as long as Mane is there. But Yeah, you'll see the younger players.
And Monty's still like what, 26?
Yeah.
He's like entering his prime.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We got Burnley versus Brighton. A 1-0 victory for Burnley. James getting the goal in the 40th minute for the game winner. 37% possession going to Burnley, 63 going to Brighton. 14 shots with 4 on goal for Burnley. 14 shots with 1 on goal for Brighton. Long ball, sir?
Well, this wasn't a long.
It was
goal.
swung in and then it was a rebound off a long.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
And then I think there's another chance that was off another long ball that missed. Brighton's really only opportunity was at the tail end of the game, where Joe Hart would have saved it if it was on target, but it went a little too far wide. But yeah, Burnley not possessing the ball as much, probably to the benefit of them and not the benefit of Brighton, because they're a team that probably wants to counterattack a lot more, because it's just the way these bottom teams are built. That's kind of like what you want, I guess. But when Burnley had the ball at their feet, they really tried to make those opportunities, and one fell to them and got the victory.
Yeah, Tarkowski's that's got to be his at least like 4th goal this year.
Fourth or fifth, probably.
Yeah, so he's been.
But he hasn't scored in a good minute though, too.
Yeah, that's true. Most of those came like really early on in the year, but without his contributions, I mean, Burnley would be in so much more trouble than they are right now. It's a really big 3 points for them. I really thought that Brighton were gonna be able to win this game. They've kind of been riding Glenn Murray so far this season, and it just seemed like the way, as poorly as Burnley had been playing going into this game, like that Brighton had the advantage. Definitely didn't work out that way. Brighton both teams with 14 shots, but Brighton were incredibly wasteful, and I don't really remember off the top of my head like a clear cut opportunity that they had in this game.
It's just like a battle of attrition in this.
A little bit, yeah. And Burnley, did what they do best with the big swinging balls into the box, and got the job done. Got the 3 points.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to watch this kind of game, just so you have more of an understanding for when they actually play like your team specifically. Like there's mostly in America like a top 6 team is like the fate, like mostly what everyone kind of is a fan of. So like you kind of understand why Burnley plays against your team like this, because when they play other teams, I guess in a way, you just get a better understanding of it, and you kind of see how predictable they are in a way. And same thing with Brighton as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And they with these 3 points also pulled Burnley up out of the relegation zone. So
yes,
big for
which
them.
is I'm happy about. I like Burnley.
Okay.
All right, let's keep moving. West Ham versus Crystal Palace. West Ham won 3-2 with a goal opened up in the 6th minute early by Crystal Palace by James MacArthur. Then another goal, or a equalizing goal, in the 40th minute by Robert Snodgrass. And then a return to the goal sheet scoring thingamaboob. Javier Chicharito Hernandez scores in the 67th minute, followed by a wonderful goal by Felipe Anderson in the 65th. And then a kind of a morale maybe boost in a way by James Scolope. I don't know how to say his name. In the 76th minute. West Ham possessed the ball 48% of the time to Crystal Palace's 52%.
I think it's Schlepp.
Schlepp? Okay.
For the record.
That sucks. 13 shots with 6 on goal for West Ham. 8 shots with 4 on target for Crystal Palace. Somewhat of a shootout in the beginning, I guess, it seemed like, until obviously like the 60th minute rolled around, and then West Ham put 2 on them, and it was kind of technically over, but obviously Crystal Palace got another goal. So definitely West Ham was very vulnerable. Looking at, they were still running the same 4-4-2. I'm not sure if Wilshere is. I guess he's hurt at the moment, so that's probably why he's not playing.
When is Jack Wilshere not hurt, though?
Yeah, but that's true.
That's the real question.
But they definitely have had to deal with injuries this year, because Yarmolenko's already out.
He's out for the year.
Yeah.
It was ruptured Achilles or something like that?
Yeah, and then Arnautovic is hurt at the moment as well. So, yeah, they've definitely been having to switch out the lineup. But they held on for 3 points.
We also got a flash of Andy Carroll in this game, coming in off the bench for Lucas Perez. I think Lucas Perez, obviously with Arnautovic out, he was probably going to be the one that started. But he wasn't really able to recreate that like two goal performance that he had in their 4-2 win the other day last week. This game, this game was going the same time as one of the other games we're going to talk about here in a second, and I was watching the little like tracker in the corner because this wasn't one of the games that was televised in the U.S. anyway. So it seemed like that and after watching the highlights, like the first half of this game was very much more the West Ham that we saw in the very beginning of the season. They were kind of struggling for points. They were giving up a lot of chances to Crystal Palace, and then like giving up that early goal as well. And then they made some adjustments in this at halftime and came out in the second half and played more like the West Ham that we have come to see over the last couple weeks. So kind of a tale of two halves for them. A good result for them. Palace played okay. I wouldn't say they played great, but getting 2 points away from home the way that they did, or not 2 points, I mean 2 goals, sorry, not 2 points, away from home, is good because they have been struggling for goals recently. So yeah. But good 3 points for West Ham.
Definitely. Let's keep moving. We got Manchester United versus Fulham. Manchester United won 4-1 with a goal opened up by Ashley Young in the 13th minute, and then another goal by Juan Mata in the 28th, and then another goal by Romelu Lukaku, assisted by Mata in the 42nd. Then, I forgot to say Kamara's first name again. Abubakar Kamara scored in the 67th minute off a penalty. Then a red card by Andre Zomba Anguissa in the 68th minute, and then a wonderful goal by Marcus Rashford in the 82nd minute. Manchester United possessed the ball 63% of the time to Fulham's 37. 20 shots with 11 on goal for Manchester United. 10 shots with 4 on goal for Fulham. I was honestly really surprised with seeing the scoreline. Because I watched like the tail end of the game, and I think just Fulham isn't what we thought they were going to be in the beginning of the year. So they're kind of looking like already as we've gone through the year as a championship side in the Premier League. But
championship side masquerading as a Premier League
just
side.
their back line and just the way they just seem to be either caught out of position or just are not communicating well. I don't know what the problem is, but this is not the first time we've seen this kind of Fulham team against anybody really so far this year. It's kind of been a consistent thing where the back line is almost kind of guaranteed to give up like at least 2 goals a game. I wouldn't be surprised if like that's their like goal allowance average a game. But for United's, this is what should be happening throughout the year, I guess. Being able to break down teams, but I don't know how much you can say of them breaking down Fulham, because sometimes Fulham kind of break themselves down in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not. I don't think it's the best victory ever. It's definitely our biggest, points wise, I guess, like goal difference wise. But I still don't think of this as like a complete positive, because we are playing a team that is at the bottom of the table, and that we should be beating it at this kind of scoring rate, I guess, or the score line should not be surprising, and we shouldn't be completely happy about it, I guess.
Yeah. The only thing that, I guess first off, what's so frustrating, what I imagine is really frustrating for you, what makes me happy all the time, is that I don't understand. This is more along the lines of the performance that this roster should have all the time. And it completely baffles me that we only get a performance like this like once out of every 10 games. Because it does with the players that you guys have at United, this should be a much more regular occurrence. Now, obviously, you guys are playing Fulham, are they still bottom?
Yeah, they're going to be. They're still bottom of the table.
Okay, so like you're going in playing like the bottom team. You expect to win the game, But the first half especially was the way. I mean, it was basically as if like City or Liverpool were playing Fulham. So and you guys are definitely capable of doing that. I think it was a little bit concerning in the second half because I think Fulham actually were threatening a little bit to get back into the game, and I think had it not been for the red card, this game could have been a lot more interesting in the second half. Because once they were down to 10 men, like they weren't going to recover.
Yeah.
And obviously you guys got the fourth goal eventually, but this was almost an inverse of what we've seen. Like if you look at the 2-2 draw with Southampton, and the two come from behind goals against Arsenal for that 2-2 draw. United have recently struggled heavily in the beginning of the game, and then recovered well in the second half. And this was definitely the opposite. Like you guys got a 3-0 early, game done and dusted. Basically, a little bit sketchy in the second half, letting Fulham back in when if getting that fourth goal early within the first 10 minutes of the second half would just dead and bury the game. So I think that's kind of the next step that you guys need to try to make is just to completely kill it off immediately.
Yeah. I mean, last week against Arsenal, or the last game against Arsenal, like the first 20 minutes is I think that's what the goal or the game setup is, like get a goal in the first 20 minutes basically, because you saw the pressure we put on Arsenal for the first 20 minutes, and it was like, okay, wait, are we actually gonna try to win this game? Because after seeing the setup the last two games, it's just been okay, well, are we just we're just gonna try to play a draw, I guess. I don't know. But you definitely seen this result. I think is good, but also, like I said, it's I don't think it's that big of a win. It's a confidence booster for sure, but we got Liverpool this weekend, which is going to be what we're going to talk about later. But still, we'll see what happens. Let's keep moving.
Yep.
Alrighty then, sir. We got Arsenal versus Huddersfield Town. A 1-0 victory by the one himself, Lucas Torreira, in the 83rd minute. 62% possession to Arsenal, 38 going to Huddersfield. 14 shots with 2 on goal for Arsenal. 6 shots with 0 on target for Huddersfield Town. Definitely there was a chance in the beginning of the game by, I think it was Pickford. Or Pritchard,
yeah.
Sorry. That he definitely had time. He kind of just was a little impatient, obviously. Was off target as well, which was it's extremely disappointing, especially a team like this that needs to take their chances when they have the opportunity.
It was like a cut back off the end line, right? And yeah.
But then basically after that, it seemed like I don't know. Huddersfield probably, I would say, did decently to try to win this game or at least get a draw.
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean,
especially at the Emirates.
6 shots, none on target, but I think they actually had the better chances to go 1-0 up in this game, despite having no shots on target. And
you saw an Arsenal goal that was not, I don't know, completely scrappy, but I don't know, just everything didn't seem well, but they got it out alive in a way as well.
Yeah. They definitely had to kind of grind out this result. I think that the goal that they ended up with, first off, the Pritchard chance especially, he should have scored that. 100 times out of 100, that should have been a goal. But the goal that Torreira got was that cross from Aubameyang should not have made it back in. The ball should have been dealt with either as it was coming in off I think it was a set piece, as it was coming in off the cross, should have been dealt with then. It wasn't. The ball kind of bobbles around a little bit, and then Aubameyang gets this little chip cross back into Torreira. No one's marking Torreira. In the middle, he standing in front of the goalkeeper to do an overhead kick. So Arsenal got the 3 points, obviously. I think Huddersfield could have very easily gotten points from this game, gotten a result from this game. If just a couple of people would have taken their chances. It looked like this game was going to end 0-0 until basically the moment that Arsenal scored. It kind of just fell into their hands really late in the game. So a little bit unlucky for Huddersfield. Arsenal are continuing their I don't even remember what the number is now.
It's 21.
21 unbeaten. I don't know.
It's 16 wins and then 5 draws.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's good for them, especially with a new manager. They seem to be playing with much more fluidity. under Unai Emery than they were under Arsene Wenger. And Arsenal were a team that last year and prior would have almost like we were talking about the United game, how they have flashes of these flashes of brilliance, where they have these games where they play how we know they're capable of. And I think that under Unai Emery now, Arsenal are starting to play like that much more consistently.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing in their results.
And they're finding results that make sense and that are warranted by a team like this. But also they've been handling the injuries pretty well. This especially in the back line with Koscielny, I think he's hurt still, and then Holding just got hurt last week or this past in the midweek. So they've definitely been able to adapt to certain injury situations, which is a good thing because I don't think Wenger would have been able to do this. And Guendouzi has offered them. I think he's been a very important piece to them in the sense that he obviously loses the ball, but he finds a way to get it back, and he's always playing with like 110%.
Yeah, I think I would put him and Madison up there as like
Surprises.
young player of the year.
Yeah, young
Nominees.
player surprises.
Yeah.
It just came out of nowhere in a way. But yeah, good on him. Let's move on. We got Cardiff versus Southampton, a 1-0 victory for Cardiff City with Callum Patterson scoring in the 74th minute. 36% possession to Cardiff with 64 going to Southampton. 13 shots with 4 on goal for Cardiff. 12 shots with 1 on goal for Southampton. Patterson seems like the guy for Cardiff like Glenn Murray is to Brighton. He just hasn't scored as much. I think he came from the Scottish League, I believe, a couple years ago when they brought him in.
Okay.
So this is like one of the guys I had in the FIFA career mode that became like a stud, which is kind of doing right now, which is good. But I don't think this is the biggest. I mean, I think it's a big victory for them because it's a bottom end team, but it wasn't that much of a. I don't know. It was kind of like a.
They were gifted this game.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that their goal came about.
Yeah, was kind of lucky.
Definitely lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. With that back pass, but I think I focus more on this game on Southampton. This was their first game, I believe, with the new manager, whose name
is it escaping your head.
Hassan Hoodle. That's an L, not I. Hassan Hoodle, something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Maybe I can figure it out. Go ahead, keep talking.
Anyway, he is supposedly a lot more of an attacking-minded manager, almost like the poor man's like Klopp or Tuchel sort of style. And obviously it's really early. This was their first game, but it didn't really seem to translate very well to Southampton. They were still very wasteful in front of goal. And it's like you were saying, really big 3 points for Cardiff. You know, this was a big, almost like, you know, one of those 6-pointers where it's like teams at the bottom that really need to be beating each other to, you know, get out of the relegation.
Yeah, you look at their
zone,
shape too. It's it was a 4-1-4-1, I believe. So it's very
for Cardiff. It was
yeah. So definitely attacking emphasis on it, especially counterattacking. Obviously, they didn't possess the ball as much, but we'll see what it translates. You know, obviously you got a new guy in there now, and we'll see next week. I don't know who they're playing off the top of my head, but we'll find out.
That we will.
Next game, sir. The unfortunate game we have to talk about this week for you. But it's finally come, though. I mean,
It was inevitable.
Yeah. Chelsea, Manchester City. Chelsea won 2-0 with a goal in the 45th minute by N'Golo Kante. Then a solidifying game-winning goal by David Luiz in the 78th minute. 39% possession to Chelsea with 61 going to Manchester City. 8 shots with 5 on target for Chelsea. 14 with 4 on goal for City. We were talking earlier, or I think that Saturday night about this and how they started Raheem as a striker. And then basically, well, the formation, I imagined it would have been a 4-5-1, but it looks like a 4-3-3.
You can't trust the setup.
Yeah.
for any City thing, because like the fullbacks end up in midfield or like
Yeah.
down. It's really you can't trust the.
So obviously the guy at ESPN tried his best, but but yeah, definitely an interesting setup, because I was talking to you about this. I was like, why didn't they just start Gabriel Jesus instead of Sterling up top? Must have been something that Guardiola saw, or they were strategizing during the week for this game. But also it was like not as much preparation as like a full week, I think, too. Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. But yeah, I was not completely surprised, but a little surprised that you guys would have dropped points against Chelsea, because I think you guys were more than capable of putting this away. But also, you talked about how Sterling had enough chances there to nick more than a goal or two, and talking about how Aguero would have put those chances away.
Yeah, or probably realistically Gabriel Jesus as well.
That too. Who was a capable player playing that day?
Right. Yeah, and Sterling had a left foot and Sané had a right foot, this game would have been 2-0 like inside 20 minutes. So maybe if we can cut each of them in half and put them together and make a super footballer, then we'll be good to go.
It's gonna be a little awkward because like one side's gonna be a little taller than.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Yeah. There'll be some kinks to work out, but we'll get it done. So it was, I guess, not necessarily surprising to see Sterling playing at striker. I think if we were to not have a striker, if say both Aguero and Jesus were hurt, I would expect Sterling to be the one in the middle.
Well, I would. I think last season or the season before, you had De Bruyne when he was healthy.
Yeah, we've done that before too.
So,
but it just with Jesus there, it didn't make any sense, and it just didn't. This was the first time this year that I felt like we had possession, but just for possession's sake. It was the first time where 61% of the possession against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge is, you would think, oh wow, like we really dominated this game, but we didn't do anything with that 61% possession but pass the ball sideways. And then forward a couple times and then back and then whatnot. And Chelsea were just sitting, soaking up pressure. Their goal in, I think it was was it stoppage time of the first half or right before stoppage time of the first half? 45th
right
minute, so like right at the end of the first half. That was Chelsea's first shot. And in reality, I mean, the number of times that Conte puts that away is maybe, like, at best, that was a 50-50 chance for them. Because Conte is not a goal scorer in any sense.
Well, this year, like earlier in the year,
it was a good finish. Don't get me wrong.
He's had a couple of just out of the nowhere kind of goals. But I think just the way they sets up Chelsea, that's kind of his chances increase in scoring opportunities.
Yeah, because they push
past years and past systems that he's been able to run in.
Right, they push him a little bit farther forward because they keep Jorginho. Jorginho is the one that stays back. Although I don't even remember if he played in this game. He did, yeah. So yeah, they scored on their very first shot, and then the second goal was a great header from David Luiz on their very first. They didn't get their first corner until the 78th minute or whenever David Luiz scored. So they were just incredibly clinical. I don't really think that. I mean, they won the game, so they're the better team in that sense. But I don't really think it was a great Chelsea performance either.
Yeah.
They just happened to score. Like, they literally scored their first shot in their first corner. So, I mean, props to them for getting a win. I think it was inevitable that City were going to drop points given the frequency of the games this time of year. And, obviously Chelsea are a big team. I think that if David Luiz had played in this game the way David Luiz played against Spurs when Chelsea played Spurs a couple weeks ago, this would have been a totally different thing. I think they got really key performances from people that have been inconsistent this year, and it all kind of came together for them in this game.
Yeah, and also I think another thing to look at is, you guys didn't have your two best players on the pitch too, with Aguero and De Bruyne.
No Aguero, no De Bruyne. So I mean, we really haven't had De Bruyne all year.
Yeah, but still, like you're still playing with a team that you don't have your best players. Like United without Pogba, and either, I don't know who would be the second best player, but either like it would be like a Martial, Rashford, or Lukaku. Then
I'm actually starting a little bit to question Ederson as actually a goalkeeper. Like, for me, I understand his importance in the team, and his distribution is incredible, and that has brought us a lot of goals since he's been there. But in my mind, still, like, a goalkeeper's first priority should be keeping the ball out of the back of the net. And I would imagine that he actually has a pretty poor save percentage.
Yeah,
Just like percentage of shots on target to like saves.
I think he's also playing with a younger backline as well.
I mean, that's true, but I don't think that like Stones and Laporte have been poor this year.
Yeah, I don't think, but they're still gonna like give up chance. Like I think the only reason why like David De Gea is David De Gea is because of the backline he plays with. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess, but I can't think of too many. There were a couple last year, but I can't think of any ridiculous saves.
Yeah, well, if you put like, I would say even if you put Ederson like in Bayern Munich or you put him on Barcelona, I think he's gonna have like less opportunities to have to make those saves because just the way they set up.
No, well, I understand that, but like
like,
if you look at Manuel Neuer like 3-4 years ago with Bayern Munich, like yeah, he had an incredible team in front of him, but he still made not only the routine saves but also ridiculous saves, and that's like what kept Bayern Munich at the top for so long. I don't see that. Like if Manchester United were playing as well as they're capable of playing, David De Gea would still make the ridiculous saves. So I mean, like even though he'd have less shots on target, the ones that would actually score would probably have to be either tap-ins or ridiculous shots into the corners.
So you think that's why they bought in Stefan at all?
No, because I don't. No, I don't. I don't think he's gonna ever play.
All right.
But I don't know. It's making me question Ederson as a goalkeeper.
Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize if you feel that way.
Just saying.
I think you just gotta give it time. We'll see what happens.
I mean, this is like we're at a year and a half now,
and
besides one, maybe two saves, there's been nothing beyond what was expected.
I don't know. Maybe the system is to
but he
score goals and then to concede, I guess.
He's still. I'm not saying that he's not important and he's to the team and not good for what he does as far as the distribution. He's, in my opinion, the best distributing goalkeeper that there is. He's so accurate with his drop kicks, his throws, everything, and he's responsible for a lot of the really dangerous counterattacks that we have, just in the way that he is able to pass the ball out of the back. But he's questionable. He's becoming questionable to me as like an actual shot stopper.
Okay. Well, we'll see. By the end of the year, we'll talk about it, I guess.
All
right. We got Leicester versus Tottenham Hotspurs. Leicester won 2-0 with a goal open up at extra time at the end of the half by Heung-min Son. And then a goal by good old Dele Alli in the 58th minute. Leicester City possessed the ball 42% of the time, with 58 going to Tottenham. 11 shots with 3 on target for Leicester, 7 with 2 on target for Tottenham. I'm trying to remember how Heung-min Son scored his goal. Jesus, I'm like forgetting like everything about this game because it was like a tail end of the day. I don't know. Like Leicester kind of seemed basically not totally not in it, but also just the way Spurs have been playing lately, I guess. But they also, it was like a decent performance by them, like consistently, like throughout the game. Yeah, I'm like blanking on this game right now. I don't know why.
Well, it was Son's goal, I think, was he came in off of the left, I think.
Yeah.
Scoring with his right. Dele Alli's was a header.
Yeah.
I know that. Leicester are kind of in a dry spell at the moment, I don't think. And Jamie Vardy was hurt as well. So I don't think that he even played in this game. And he wasn't on the bench either. So they're without Jamie Vardy again, so obviously that's going to hamper their goal-scoring opportunities. And Iheanacho and Gray combined haven't really been able to make up for Jamie Vardy's absence. Spurs just kind of keep grinding out results. I don't necessarily think that they played all that well. They scored their only 2 shots on target to get their 2 goals. but still getting points, pushing up into, I guess Chelsea won too. I'm not sure if they're in third still or not. Yeah, they are. They are still in third. So Spurs up in third, which is good for them. Trying to keep some distance between themselves and Chelsea and Arsenal, who are just right behind them. And yeah, another good, not necessarily great performance, but good result for Spurs, which has been kind of the case for the last couple of months now, it feels like.
Yeah, because just the way Leicester's been playing, because they just haven't been able to totally offer an attacker consistently throughout this year so far. That's why I meant like where it seemed like they were just there, but also just Spurs just haven't been playing the best. So just it seemed even, but it's not. No, it makes no sense. But it's just the way Spurs has been this year, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. All right, let's move on to the Sunday game. We got Newcastle United versus Wolves. Wolves won 2-1 with a goal in the 17th minute by Diego Jota. And a goal by, how do you say Perez's first name again? I know it's not pronounced like
I think it's Iozi.
Iozi?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't pronounce. Okay. Iozi Perez in the 23rd minute. And then an unfortunate red card by our own DeAndre Yedlin. And then a game-winning goal by Matthew Doherty.
Doherty.
There's no D.
Doherty.
I thought you said, okay, never mind. I thought you said Doherty.
No.
Okay, never mind. In the 94th minute, game winner for him. He's been scoring goals this year, dude. An even possession by both teams, 50-50, which is like, maybe is that the first time?
Probably not.
I feel like it is. 14 shots with 4 on goal for Newcastle. 13 shots with 6 on goal for Wolves. Obviously, the first goal, just misjudgment on the marking, but the ball just was like perfect as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then also having that amount of time to bring it down and score was ridiculous. The red card was unfortunate. Obviously, it's just a complete Yedlin, what are you doing? Kind of in a way. And then Perez's goal, just off of a crossbar challenge shot by Rondon, and then he just swung it back in, and then somehow Perez got a head on it and then tied it up. And then just the game winner, which I forgot. How did he score that one? Was it off a corner?
No, I think he finished. I think it was a counterattack. He finished between the goalkeeper's leg. He 5-holed the goalkeeper, I think, on the right side of the goal, if I remember correctly.
But regardless, another just kind of getting out alive kind of victory for Wolves to continue their. They won. No, they won last week as well. They beat Chelsea.
They did.
So continuing their good form at the moment, getting out of that slump. Hopefully this kind of picks back up for them because they're about a mid-table team right now, I believe.
Yeah, they're exactly 10th.
Yeah, so getting back into maybe the top 8 is maybe a goal for them. Maybe top 6, who knows? Some teams can just fall apart, but just all in all, a good performance by them.
Yeah, I think the red card is really kind of what made the difference here. That Wolves were able. I think an 11-man Newcastle would have actually held out probably for a 1-1 draw. But Wolves, with them being down a man, and down DeAndre Yedlin specifically, just with his pace that he offers in defense, they just were eventually able to kind of grind down Newcastle. Newcastle did play better a little bit offensively than they have recently. And there is, I guess, I forget the name of their owner, but I guess he was on Sky Sports on this past weekend saying that he's going to try to sell the team, or at least sell controlling shares of the team before the new year.
Yeah, Mike Ashley, I think is his name.
Yeah, that's right. So he wants there to be a new owner there to help Newcastle spend some money in the January transfer window. So it's going to be good for them because they have spent basically nothing for the last couple of years now.
Well, I mean, they brought in players. They're just not players of consistent quality, probably is like the best way to say it.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, even their net spend is pretty low though, even compared to their like contemporaries in the middle to bottom table. So if Newcastle can get a new owner, that'll hopefully help them turn things around and claw off away from the bottom of the table. So, another good result for Wolves after, like you said, beating Chelsea 2-1 last week. Grinding out a result here. I still think they don't really have a plan B for teams that don't just come at them. Because they still just continue to play like the 3-4-3 every week, 3-4-3, 3-4-3, 3-4-3. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But they have obviously struggled much more against the lower the team is in the table, the worse Wolves play against them. Kind of seems to be how it works.
Any team below them in the table does not have the same capable midfield as them as well, to note. So they're able to make passes and make crosses that a lot of teams in the bottom cannot or not able to do or have the capabilities of doing. Just on like their technical abilities.
Yeah.
All right. Last game of the week, Monday Night Football. We got Everton versus Watford in a 2-2 draw. Goals open up by Richarlison in the 15th minute. And then an unfortunate own goal by Everton's own Seamus Coleman in the 63rd. Then a lead taking goal by Abdoulaye Doucouré in the 65th minute. And then a game-tying free kick by Lucas Digne. 57% possession to Everton with 43 to Watford. 12 shots with 5 on goal for Everton. 15 shots with 3 on goal for Watford. I was kind of watching this game on Monday while I watched a bit of the beginning before I left class, and then when I was in class, I was like watching like the highlights. I was like, oh wow, looks like I should have watched this game. I shouldn't have came to class. But then watching the thing say, oh, a brilliant kick by Lucas Digne for the game tying thing, I was like, oh, I gotta watch this, and I did. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I should have watched this whole game.
It was obviously a really nice goal. I think Watford will consider themselves pretty unlucky, just how not only how late it was, but the fact that he probably only he probably only scores like that 1 out of every 20 takes. I mean, just perfectly into the net the way that he took that free kick. Everton, I guess, have not been. They've kind of reverted a little bit back to. This is now 3 straight games without a win, with like the loss to Liverpool in the Merseyside derby, and then the draw with Newcastle last weekend, and then this draw 2 weekends ago, and then this draw against Watford. Not necessarily as fluid as it has been in the past. Sigurdsson missed a penalty in this game as well, so I guess that kind of this free kick and the penalty miss kind of cancel each other out. But Watford gave Everton
goal as well, so
that's
a little
true.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. Watford obviously gave Everton a lot of problems. They gave Manchester City a lot of problems in their game prior. So they've been playing better of late as well. But yeah, I guess maybe all things considered, it's probably a fair result with like the own goal, the missed penalty, and then such a late free kick tying the game like that.
Sorry, it was a nasty tackle right there.
Oh.
Just switch over to the PSV inter game right now.
Oh, okay. Which looks like it's about to end.
Mm-hmm.
So with the draw, I think Tottenham goes through, right?
Yeah, I believe so. But yes, like you were saying. All right, we got this week's stats ending match day 15, I believe, right?
This was 16.
16.
The midweek was 15, so this is 16.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang continues to lead the league with 10 goals. Mohamed Salah with 10 in as well, tying him, moving up in the top 3 this week, with Harry Kane in third with 9. Eden Hazard is now the new league leader in assists with 8. Mohamed Salah is the new league leader for shots with 57. Idrissa Gueye continues to lead the league with 66 tackles. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is continuing to also lead right behind him in second with 57. And then the new third place champ with 52 tackles is Ricardo Pereira from Leicester. Clean sheets, Alisson Ramses Becker is continuing to lead the league with 10 clean sheets. And Super Joey Hart is continuing to lead the league with 70 saves. Club-wise, Liverpool and Man City are 1-2 with 13 wins, with Spurs right behind them with 12. Fulham with 11 losses leads the league there. City hits the 300 mark this week with 300 shots and continues to lead the league. West Ham leads the league in tackles with 320, with Huddersfield with 315 in second, and Everton right behind them with 296. And now the new league leaders in passes with 11,240 is Manchester City. And the continued long ball day one leaders in the Premier League for long balls is Burnley with 1,191. You guys are up by like you guys made like almost 200 more passes in Chelsea this week.
Yes, but did we do anything with all those passes?
I know, but I'm just saying though,
No.
it's like that was a big jump. But regardless, that is your league leaders for this week. Shall we go to match day 17, sir?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. First game of the week, we are going to the Etihad, 2-7, Manchester City versus Everton. Who you got, sir?
Well, I'm obviously contractually obligated to pick Manchester City here. And Everton, this is probably a good as time as any to play Everton. They really haven't been playing that well. They've dropped points in their last at least 3 games, as we mentioned in the review of the Everton-Watford game. Aguero will hopefully be back for this game, according to Guardiola's press conference today. So we will have Aguero back and have an actual striker and not Raheem Sterling or whoever in front. This game for us, I think, last year. No, it wasn't last year. It would have been. Well, we did drop points against it. Everton were the first team to take points off City last year, and the year before they completely annihilated us 4-0 in Guardiola's first year. So Everton have been recently a little bit of a bogey side for City. I'm gonna go for a 3-1 victory. We can't seem to keep clean sheets anymore these days, so I think Everton will get 1.
Yeah, I see you guys scoring more than 2 in this game as well. I'm going to go with City as and the One Football app agrees with us with 79 going to City, 5 going to a draw, 16 going to Everton. Let's keep moving. Crystal Palace versus Leicester City at Selhurst Park, 9-16. Who you got?
This one's tough for me because Leicester are likely to still be without Palace. Good grief, without Palace, without Jamie Vardy.
Mm-hmm.
And their offense just is not the same without him. I know James Maddison has been contributing much more than people expected so far this year, but Iheanacho and Damari Gray have not. So I think Palace are due a win. So I think I'm actually going to go with Palace in this game. I think they were able to get 2 against West Ham, a much better West Ham, last week. They've been relatively inconsistent, and I think maybe it's time for a little bit of an upswing for them.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with Palace.
Okay. I'm going to go with a draw in this game. I just think Leicester has been playing poorly, but I don't think Crystal Palace is going to have enough to offer, and I think they'll just be like a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
So Leicester City leads this with 72 going to them, 9 to a draw, 19 going to Crystal Palace. Next up, we got Huddersfield Town versus Newcastle at John Smith Stadium, 15-18. This is a big game for both of them as they're at the bottom of the table. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Newcastle in this game. They showed a little bit of signs of life, even though they lost the game against Watford. There was some signs of life there, and they really, really need to start getting themselves some points against teams like this, and I definitely think they're capable. It seems that Rondon and Ayoze Perez have been playing better the last few weeks, and I think that they're going to be able. I think they're going to have a more dangerous attack than Huddersfield will be able to present them. So I'm going to go with Newcastle.
I'm going to agree with you on this one as well. I I have so much faith in Newcastle against these bottom end teams, even though they've had some poor performances this year against them.
Just a few. Yeah,
But this is where the tide turns against these lower end opponents, and need to put these teams down to where they belong, and they need to get back to the mid table. So, 66 going to Newcastle, 11 to a draw, 23 going to Huddersfield. We got Spurs versus Burnley at Wembley Stadium, 3 versus 17. Who you got?
Spurs are just going to keep grinding out results. I think, as we just watched happening, they got through the Champions League. I think that's going to kind of help liven up spirits for Spurs. Just, that kind of pressure off their shoulders that they qualified for the knockout stages. So, and they'll be at least a month or so off, I think, now, the Champions League, right, before the group stage starts. So they'll have a little bit of a break. Obviously, the Premier League games and FA Cup games and such are going to be picking up domestically, but I think that Spurs are going to have a much easier time against Burnley than they've had against similar teams recently. I just don't think that the Burnley long ball factory is going to be able to be effective against Spurs. So I'm going to go Tottenham.
I think, is Vertonghen still hurt, or Adebayo still hurt? So I know they've been like in and out of the squad because of injuries.
I think really both of them have been, but not recently.
I don't know. Well, I'm going to go with Spurs, but I'm not going to be surprised if somehow Burnley can nick a couple to actually walk away with the 3. Yeah.
Nick a couple.
Yeah.
Burnley is really good at nicking one.
Well,
because that's all you can really do with that style.
Papa. I'm saying nick a couple, all right? Because I got how many? 1, 2 balls. That's a couple. Long balls, sir.
Okay.
So, but I'm still going with Spurs. So it doesn't really matter. But I wouldn't. I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if I saw the score line.
If Burnley
2-1 victory.
If Burnley put up a crooked number against Spurs, I will be surprised.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to be surprised.
Okay. Well.
So Spurs has 90% to them, 2 to a draw, 8 going to Burnley. Next, we are going to, I believe it's Vicarage Road. It's loading.
It is.
12 versus 14, Watford, Cardiff City. Who you got?
Cardiff did get 3 points in the last weekend with that 1-0 victory against Southampton, but I think Watford are a much better team than Southampton are, and that was a home game for Cardiff as well, and this is an away game, like you said, at Vicarage Road. Watford coming off that 2-2 draw against Everton, where they played okay. I think that they are definitely capable of beating Cardiff. But I think I am actually going to go for a draw. I think I'm going to go for like a 1-1 draw. Cardiff have been playing better as of late. And they've dragged themselves out of off the bottom of the table where they used to be a few weeks ago. So I'm gonna go for a draw in this game.
I'm gonna go with Watford because I believe Cardiff will have a lot more life in them, but I still think it's going to take them maybe a game or two to completely be a little bit more lethal against a team of Watford's caliber. So, yeah. 77 going to Watford, 7 going to a draw, 16 going to Cardiff City. We are going to the Monolix, right?
Mm-hmm.
8 versus 10. Wolves versus Bournemouth. Who you got, sir?
I don't know. I think I'm tempted to go with Bournemouth because we've been talking so much about how Wolves can't seem to break down teams that won't attack them. And I think we saw, it wasn't this past week, but the week before, where Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser scored like Bournemouth's only 2. I forget who they were playing, but I think maybe it was Crystal Palace. They scored their only 2 shots on target. Just like they want to play counterattacking football. Wolves want to play counterattacking football. And Wolves always seem to struggle against teams that won't just come at them. And Bournemouth are definitely going to be willing to let Wolves have the ball. So I guess I'm gonna go for a draw. I'm not gonna go for Bournemouth. I'm gonna go for a draw.
I'm going to go with Wolves on this one. I think also Bournemouth going there might help a little bit. I think that'll maybe give them the slight edge. Because I also think Wolves are capable of possessing the ball and still winning without having to completely counterattack and have the other team possess the ball more than them. So, one football app agrees with me with 60%, 10 going to a draw, 30 going to Bournemouth. Sorry, it says Lucas to the rescue. Give me a notification. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
All right. Fulham versus West Ham at Craven Cottage. 11 versus 20. Who you got, sir?
I'm gonna go with West Ham. Gotta stay on board the West Ham train, the Manuel Pellegrini train, and West Ham have been playing much better over the last few weeks. So, them getting 3 points out of this game is not something that should be surprising. They came from behind last week against Palace. A little bit concerning that they let Palace back into that game. So you definitely don't want to allow Fulham to kind of hang around in a close game, especially at home. But I am going to go with West Ham. I think that their attack is just, even without Marko Arnautovic, their attack is just working really well at the moment.
Okay. Well, I'm going to agree with you as well. So does the One Football app. 70% going to West Ham, 6 going to a draw, 24 going to Fulham. We are going to Sunday, December 16th games now. No Monday games this week. We got Brighton versus Chelsea at the Amex Stadium. 4 versus 13. Who you got, sir?
I have to go with Chelsea in this game. They are... they did have that loss to Wolves a couple match weeks ago, but I think they're going to be in good spirits following their victory against City last weekend. And this is a game that they definitely should win as long as you can figure out how to defend Glenn Murray, which shouldn't be too difficult for them. Hopefully, for Chelsea's sake, David Luiz continues his kind of good vein of form that he's found since the Spurs game, and I think they're going to get all 3 points out of this.
Yeah, I also agree with you, but I'm gonna say that Glenn Murray scores in this game though.
Okay.
87 going to Chelsea, 3 to a draw, 10 to Brighton. Second to last game of the week, we got Southampton versus Arsenal at St. Mary's. Arsenal is at 5, Southampton's at 19. Who you got, sir?
I think Arsenal are definitely going to continue their strong run of performances. Southampton did not bring in a defensive-minded coach to replace Mark Hughes. So I think they're going to struggle to keep clean sheets and kind of have more of a gun-ho kind of attitude as far as their Premier League survival is concerned. Arsenal obviously have been, I think you said 21 games unbeaten. I think they're definitely capable of destroying Southampton even away from home. So I'm going to go with Arsenal.
I'm going to go with Arsenal too. It just seems like since Danny Ings has not been in the lineup for Southampton, it's been kind of dull for them attacking wise. I mean, Armstrong's had a couple stretches of good games and scoring, but Danny Ings just has a certain quality that the other frontline guys that they have don't have, and if he's not in the lineup, I don't see them being competitive at all. So,
okay.
88 going to Arsenal, 3 to a draw, 9 going to Southampton.
I would say that I think Charlie Austin's been doing okay.
He's been doing okay, but I'm just saying I think Danny Ings is just a little bit better. I know Charlie Austin in years past, I know when he was at Queen's Park Rangers or QPR, he was actually a top 3 goal scorer one of those years. So I know he has it in him, but I just think Danny Ings is just a better player. It just seems like he's able to create things on his own and is able to play with not the best players around him and still find the back of the net. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Charlie Austin hasn't had like double knee surgery, so.
But yeah, that's true. We got. Is this game of the week, sir?
Yes.
All right. We got Liverpool versus Manchester United at Anfield. We got 1 versus 6. Who you got, sir?
I want very badly for United to win this game. If they play anything like they played in the first half against whoever you guys just beat 4-1, Fulham.
Fulham.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys can actually, get up and excited for this game and not just try to sit in and defend against Liverpool for 90 minutes. I'm going to go for a draw just because I can't pick Liverpool. I can't bring myself to do that. So I'm going to go for a draw. Hopefully Mohamed Salah kind of reverts back to, I was thinking you were naming off the stats and how Salah is up at 10 goals, which is tied for the league lead. Like all the talk of him not playing as well as he has been, which I think is still true, but he's like right up there.
I think he
with
should
goals
probably
now.
be around like the 15 mark at least.
I think if it was Mohamed Salah of last year, he definitely would be. But still, he's tied up for the league lead for goals, so that's good for him. But I'm gonna go for a draw here. I need Liverpool to drop some points, so you guys better get a result.
I'm gonna be really realistic with my pick. I'm gonna go with the draw as well.
Okay. Is that really realistic though?
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the way we're gonna set
you
up.
heard it here first.
I think we're gonna take a. I don't think we're going to play like 20 minutes of pressure like we usually have done like the last 3 games, but I don't know what Mourinho's going to do, but hopefully I'm going to pray that we don't give up 4 and like a 4-0 loss probably. That might happen. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm going to go with the draw. One full bap does not agree with both of us. 62 going to Liverpool, 6-2 draw, 32 going to Manchester United. Is there any other big games this week, sir?
Mm-mm.
That is it. And that has been Across the Pond, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, please consider liking the video on YouTube and subscribing to the College Avenue channel. Also, please give us a big old heart on SoundCloud or 5-star review on iTunes podcasts and Google Play. And please consider following us on those services as well. Thank you guys for listening on those. And that has been it. This has been Across the Pond, like I've said. I've been the host, Rich Rodillo, joined by the man with the noggin, where 2 American boys talk about the worldwide world of soccer/football. We shall see you guys next week. Goodbye.
See ya.